Hi everyone, welcome to Your Monday Mojo with me, Coach Mo, providing you an opportunity to reflect a little bit um, every Monday as we begin the week. And it just so happens for me, energetically, every November, and this week will be November, right? We have Halloween on Tuesday, and Wednesday is November 1st. So I naturally want to begin something new. I want to create moments for myself, for the people that I work with, and for all of you in my community to reflect. It's a time when we look at the year, how it went for us, what's working well, what isn't, what do we want to begin to change, how do we want to grow in our lives. And so it just so happens that on Sundays, which is my sacred day, and today is Sunday, by the way, I do film these on Sunday and I send them to you on Monday. Um, I'm I'm questioning, what are sacred Sundays for me? And I want to invite you to join me in creating sacred moments, sacred time for you to really create that awareness in your life, which is at the foundation of great leadership, great life leadership, and to use those moments to begin to make those small changes in our lives, which happens through reflection. Now, the reason I'm so excited is because I am starting something new, and I hope that you will join me. And if you watch my videos regularly, you may know by now that I follow strengths. I am a strengths coach. And so oftentimes when I work with individuals and with companies, I look to what's strong in you, what's unique in you, and we build our leadership from that perspective. So if you've done Strengths Finder, which is a unique tool that helps us to uncover some of our strengths, you know that my number one strength is learner. I love learning. I don't stop learning. I'm always picking up a book, reading a quote, using my oracle cards, listening to others and pulling information that can be useful for me and for others in my life. And so I decided, right, which is what we do in strengths, is we leverage our strengths. So how can I use my number one talent of strengths and bring it into your Monday Mojos? And that's what I'm doing. So I've decided that moving forward, at least for now, right? Because I always change it up, and I allow myself to change it up and to be guided by inspiration. But from this moment onward, I decided that I am going to look at the yin and the yang of a success and spirituality, right? And that's really how I live my life. I don't stop myself from thinking about what makes me successful and that drive and motivation that I need and my clients need in order to get to where they want to go, right? So we need a little bit of that yang energy, which is powerful, which is forward moving, and it drives us, right? And then we also need that yin side, those moments, those sacred moments where we really connect with who we are. We begin to uncover what's underneath and what drives us from a spiritual perspective, from a purpose-driven place, right? And so I want to bring the two together every week in creating your Monday Mojos and in providing and taking inspiration from what I read, what I learn, and then bringing it to you and allowing you to also create that reflection. So I hope you'll play with me. And so this is going to be a little bit like a book club, and just a little bit also like this is what I read this week that inspired me, that had me thinking about success and spirituality, and what does it mean for you, right? So the resources that I'm using are the following for this week. Success Magazine. Love this magazine. It has just tidbits of awesome information on things that will drive us, motivate us, help us to get to where we want to go, uncover that path for us. And then, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this book. And if you want to follow along, I hope you'll join me. The Wisdom of Sundays by Oprah Winfrey. So, if you follow Oprah, you know that she has Super Soul Sunday and her Super Soul Conversations, which I absolutely adore. Sundays are my sacred days. So, Sundays, I read my books. I pick my oracle cards for the week to give me guidance and inspiration. I do a lot of reading and a lot of writing, journaling as well on Sundays. It's really just kind of a day for me to really reflect deeply and to prepare myself for the week to come. So I cannot wait to go through this book with all of you. So I encourage you to purchase it. And let's do it together. So write down in the notes. Let me know. Comment if you're going to join us for this weekly reading. And so let's go ahead and get started. I want to start with Wisdom of Sundays and with the opening quote that Oprah uses for this book. Okay, and it says, and why don't I just read it from here? All of us are seeking the same thing. We share the desire to fulfill the highest, truest expression of ourselves as human beings. Why do I love this so much? Well, I love this so much because you may know that in 2017, I created my first mastermind group for women called the Fire and Flow Circle, which is really all about yin and yang. Right? I really feel that my work is inside out feng shui for the soul, right? So we're always evaluating, we're always making tweaks, energetic tweaks, and taking the opportunity to really live our lives from this very deep place of knowing who we are, what our gifts are, what we're here to do, and to go light that up, okay? And so my Fire and Flow Circle is about that. It just so happens that I call my Fire and Flow Circle our sacred circle. It is a sacred space for us women to come together and talk about life, talk about what's happening in our lives, in the different areas of our lives, right? And in Feng Shui, we use the Bagua map to look at that. How is our wealth and self-worth? How our family and love relationships? How is my health and wellness? How is my career going? How is my spirituality? Et cetera, et cetera. We can look at all the different aspects of our lives and really dive deep and figure out what's working, what isn't. And together as a group, as a sacred group, let's be there for one another. Let's hold each other accountable, and let's master our lives. It's a life mastery group. So when I read this quote, I said, okay, this is the right book to start with, because I'm all about self-expression. I'm all about really getting to what's real, what's true, and living our lives from that space. And fulfilling the highest and truest expression of ourselves as human beings. So that's what I do in my mastermind. That's also just what I do on a daily basis with the individuals that I work with, men and or women. So let me read a little bit from this book, and then we'll have our first reflection for this week. So Oprah writes that the photos in this book hold deep meaning for me. Many of the images you will see were taken at my home in Santa Barbara, where I feel the presence of God, right? And I ask you that, where do you feel the presence of God, the universe, whatever you hold true, and the connection to all that is greater than myself, most deeply? Morning walks with my dogs represent a form of prayer for me, taking time to delight in the glory of nature that surrounds me. Baby tears, grass laced between a stone path, fallen acorns, a bird's nest. These photos represent to me both the majestic abundance of our shared world and the unseen details we often miss in our lives. Like spirituality itself, the simple things, when appreciated with reverence, take on an entirely new meaning. Suddenly, the single blade of grass has gone from ordinary to poignant to explicit and finally miraculous in its beauty. I love this when she talks about the single blade of grass. And I blogged about this a long time ago because I remember one day when I was living in my mother's house, because we were constructing this home, one of the neighbors would sit in his grass for hours, at least an hour, and I'm probably exaggerating, but for a good amount of time, picking at the grass, literally just sitting there picking at the grass. And I didn't know what to think about it. Every time I would drive by, I'm like, what is he doing? And is he okay? Is there something, is there something missing? What is he looking for in the grass? And one day I realized, and I don't know if this is true, but this is my story about it, that it was probably a very mindful, sacred moment for this person. Just looking at every single blade of grass and seeing the uniqueness in the blade of grass, looking at the color, feeling the texture, looking at the life that lives in between each blade of grass. And what an incredible moment to just see all this life within something that we never take the time to really appreciate or look at, right? So it became a sacred moment for him, I believe. And just like Oprah, for me, nature is what connects me to God, to spirituality. It helps to ground me. And so the reflection that I would love for you to have, by the way, and we're just on the introduction, we haven't really started the first chapter of the book, which I will dive into next week, and hopefully you'll dive into it with me. What's sacred for you? That's what I want you to think about this week from the yin perspective. And what are those sacred moments that you build into your life? When we follow very successful people, very conscious individuals, we know that they have built into their every single day sacred moments, sacred rituals, and it really helps them to live a very a life full of grace and ease and happiness and joy and connection. So I ask you that. What is sacred for you, and what are those sacred moments, or maybe just a sacred day that that you build into your routine? And I would love for you to comment on it, okay, below in the video on YouTube. That would be fantastic to hear from you. So that's the yin reflection I would like for us to look at. And then, and in Success Magazine, you know, I work with a lot of corporate executives and professionals. And if you've read a lot of my blogs, you know that one of the reasons why I am in the world of leadership and well-being is because I began to see the connection between the two, how well we are, and having high well-being in our life really is deeply related to how we lead our lives and how we lead others, our leadership, right? And so in the magazine, there was a story that was talking about culture and creating change in a culture, and specifically how we shouldn't wait for our office culture to change in order for us to finally feel successful and be happy, okay? And I know that this resonates with many of you because the majority of professionals that I work with are dealing with a culture they're not completely in sync with and not terribly happy about, and yet they're not really finding a way to do something about it, make a positive change. They're waiting for someone else to make that change, right? So from the success perspective, from finding success every day in our work life perspective, and the yang side of the reflection today, I want you to consider, if you're in a place in your office environment, in your office culture, in your corporation where you feel kind of stuck and you're kind of waiting for something to happen in order for you to feel successful, feel happy, feel healthy again, then I want you to think about one way, one thing that you can do to take more personal responsibility for your own culture within that organization, for your own happiness and success and productivity. What can you do different? What can you begin to be the change instead of waiting for someone else to do that for you because my dears, my darlings, you can wait forever and change may never happen, right? So if you want to be happy, if you want to be successful, if you want to be healthy, you have to make that change. It really does start with us. And I learned the hard way. And much of my work is working with others so that they don't wait too long to make those changes and they don't do it the hard way. Okay, there is an easy way to do it. It starts with personal responsibility. It does. We have to be the change ourselves. So those are the 2 reflections I want you to think about. I know this video was a little bit longer today because I had a little bit of an introduction for you. Next week, we'll just jump into the 2 reflections. But I hope you'll join me on this journey and join my little book club. Yay! And follow me and the readings and the wisdom of Sundays. I did order the journal as well, but I have to wait until January for it. So I'm going to be making my own reflections in my own journal that I currently write in. And write me. Let me know if you like this new structure for your Monday mojo. A little bit of yin, a little bit of yang, a little bit of spirituality, a little bit of success. I'm loving it. I'm feeling it. And I hope that you do too. And I'm sorry about the football game in the back, but we are big time New England Patriots fans. Forgive me if you're not. And so, I need to be watching the game so that I know how things are going to go the rest of the day, whether we win or lose. So have a fantastic Monday. I wish you a super fun Halloween. You can see all of our decorations in the back. We're big Halloween folks in this family. So dress up, have fun, eat a little candy, nourish your soul, and I'll see you next week, okay? Have a great day. Bye-bye.